Welcome everybody back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. This is NWA Samhain review show. I'm your host Adam Cousins. I am joined by my NWA partner Fiona Lochran. You may hear a little bit of somberness in our voices this morning. Those of you that have watched on YouTube would have seen the picture that was put up. For those of you on Spotify that are listening that don't know why we're a little bit somber this morning. News come out yesterday of the passing of NWA star Jack Dane, the Dane event. NWA posted it out yesterday. Complications due to a heart attack that he suffered, I think, in November. He unfortunately passed on Christmas Day of all days to pass. Look, before we get started, it's just not the news that we ever want to hear. Obviously, everyone has to pass at some stage, but no, at this point of time, just a real gutting one to wake up to.
It's bad for any time of the year. I think it's extra tough at Christmas. This one's kind of hit me quite hard. Jax is the same age as me,
Mhm.
um, which makes it tough. I know he leaves behind his wife, his son. We interviewed him. He has a niece that he absolutely doted on that I know is going to miss him terribly. Um, I've been reading all the tweets and the posts on X and Instagram and Facebook, and it's quite clear how respected, how loved that man was. He looked terrifying, but everybody said the same thing. You could not meet a kinder, terrifying looking man in your life. I only had the pleasure of meeting him once, and also obviously we podcasted with him,
Yeah.
and he was an absolute gentleman, and he had always been a supporter of the podcast, retweeting posts and things like that when I made them and stuff. So it's a real tough one. My heart goes out to his family and friends, and obviously all the NWA family who are going to miss him. I don't think the locker room's going to be quite the same without him. In
No.
particular, obviously, folk like Baron von Storm, who he's been tagging with lately. I know he's going to miss him terribly. Um, and a lot of the young guys that kind of the newer wrestlers, they've all kind of said that he's one of the first ones to go and speak to them after their matches and give them feedback, and that's a big loss for the wrestling industry having someone like that leave. So sad times, sad
Yes.
times.
Sad times indeed, Jax. May you rest in peace, and we'll definitely see you down the road for sure. I do think, though, that Jax would want us to do this podcast right and do it justice, as it's the NWA, something that he loved. So we'll try and get back into a bit more of what you normally expect from us on this show. And to be fair, I mean, we've got a great show to review right now.
We do, we do. We had three absolutely banging matches this week
Huge
on
matches.
Christmas Eve as well, which was great. I made my kids watch it with me. They were like, "Mom."
Family time. See, Christmas brings the family together. It brought us NWA lot together as well. Obviously, the main part of this was going to be two major title matches. It was going to be Kenzie versus Tiffany Nieves, and of course Alex Taylor versus Jack Cartwheel, which was actually the main event of the show, which was really interesting. I thought it was going to be the reverse way around. Kenzie was going to main event because
They
obviously
like to keep us on our toes, don't they?
they do. They do. That's the one thing I will say about it. And that's kind of because it threw me with the package. I was like, oh, well, Kenzie. And then it just went straight into it. Kenzie and Tiffany Nieves. Let's just go straight into that. I mean, again, the NWA showcasing why they have one of the strongest women's rosters in the world, in wrestling, shall we say, not just, in the world, but incredible way to start this.
Absolutely. And can I just say, Tiffany was almost a honorary Scot with that gear that she had on. I was well impressed. Looked like a big St. Andrew's cross on her butt and her trunk. So yeah. But Tiffany is someone that I've watched for a little while now on the NW, and I've always been quite impressed with her, but I feel like she stepped up her game for this match.
Yeah, it feels that way. I mean, how long have we? I mean, she's been on there. She's been on there ever since. Yeah, pretty much ever since I've been watching it now. So coming on to 2 years. You always see, when you see someone again, we don't always see him regularly on the NWA. That's the thing. But when you see him and you can see the the progression in a wrestler. And Tiffany Nieves just epitomizes that someone that you could see that just keeps on learning and keeps getting better and better and better
Yeah.
as she goes along.
The trajectory's going that way, basically. He's going in one direction. It's great. And it's great to see. I love seeing that with anyone. So
Yeah,
it's, yeah. This
Tiffany.
was fun. This was a lot of good. And she had quite a lot of control in this match.
She
I was worried for Kenzie on multiple occasions.
I thought at some point there may have been a change. Yeah, I did feel as if that could have happened. Obviously, didn't help that we do get spoiled with these things that we know who champions are before. But hey ho, there were still some moments in the match where you thought this could change. There were some great sequences in the match as well. But ultimately, Markova decides to get involved in this.
Revenge is best served ringside.
Yeah, ringside. Yeah, and who was that one with Markova? What was her? I can't remember her name.
Markova had her number one contenders match, and Tiffany came out and caused her to. I
Yeah, I
can't
remember
remember if it
that.
was
But
DQ.
who was Mark over at ringside with? Because Tiffany got into it with somebody else as
It
well.
was Nima. So
Ah,
Nima apparently, and I don't know who, and I think it was Nima who was sitting ringside and had been given. We didn't know it was Nima at the time. A girl had been given Tiffany it tight verbally ringside, and Tiffany decided that she was going to shut her up, but it transpires that Nima actually works for NWA, does some stuff backstage. I think she's a trainee at FTW, which is Markova's
Yep.
school, which would explain why Markova's come out to kind of have her back as she should, as her coach. Yeah, all kind of kicks off. Nima gets a beautiful slap in on Tiffany's face at one point as well. I was like, oh, that's gotta hurt. But yeah, Markova comes out to kind of police the situation, so to speak.
Police the situation, and she gets a kick for her troubles, but not from Tiffany. She gets a kick from Kenzie, who's face again in this.
She switches back and forth, doesn't she?
Depends on the town, right? Got to do. Got to
And who
depend on
she's
the town.
facing, really.
Who she's facing. Yeah. And that kind of set up the ending sequence, which again, there was a couple of roll-ups before the end, which turned out to be, of course, Kenzie Cutter game over. And Kenzie retains the championship. But again, even with that outside interference, if you just looked at the action in between that, we've said this near enough from day one how good this division is, but it just seems to get every match that we see, these women just get better and better and better.
Yeah, I am very fond of the women's division here. Very fond of the women's division. And there's some good contenders. I reckon down the line. Now, I don't know which female will be champ, but I reckon down the line you're going to see Markova and Tiffany for the belt.
Oof, no, we don't. Really? Who's going to be the champion though? You didn't say
This is the
the
million
big,
dollar
right?
question. I want to say Markova, but
Right.
Tiffany's really holding her own at the moment. So I don't know. Unless someone else comes along completely unexpected, would be fun. Throw a little spanner in the works.
I still wouldn't rule out Hollywood Haley J
Mm,
in that. She was come on, she's kicked off her career in the NWA very, very nicely. And we got her on the show in a couple of weeks. So let's and we don't know. She could be champion.
you never know.
We don't know. She could be the Burke, but obviously looks that Kill was a couple of weeks ago. We're moving on to Shockwave in January and a new female tag team come into play in the
I
NWA.
know, that's exciting. Yeah, we do need a
Very.
couple more tag teams, female tag teams in the division, absolutely.
We did say that it was lacking in a few in a few areas. And actually, there's actually going to be two newish teams, one returning team, one new team. The Money Birds are coming in to the NWA at Shockwave, and we're going to see two returns as a team. Misty Marks and CJ, who's going to be coming back for Shockwave. It'd be great to see them two as well, but much needed in the women's tag division.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it kind of wheels us nicely to a tag team match. That well, this is if you wanted a match that epitomizes NWA, this is this is it. So the Heavenly Butterflies, yes, Heavenly Butterflies, come out and they basically was
It's an
calling
open
anybody
challenge. What,
open
really?
challenge,
I
and
mean,
even. Go
Who in their right mind is going to walk into an NWA ring with Kyle and issue an open challenge?
on. As even Carl was surprised by that. But if you listen to William Patrick Horgan on commentary, he had heard about the challenge and he made a call, so to speak. And then if you like watch the Indiana Jones films of the 80s, you have the picture goes a bit shorter and out
I
comes
love that part.
the Temple of Doom, I think they're called, or Doom, but in a
Doom,
spelled D-U.
Dumm, dum, dum, dum.
That's it. Thank you very much, Fee. Beast Man was one, and it was it
Stone Rockwall. Or
Stone
Stone Rock.
Rock
I don't know if it's Rockwall or Rockwell. That's really bad. I should have known better. No, Rockwell,
and
I think.
Beast Man, the Temple of
Quite
Doom of Doom.
literally, a beast.
This guy, Beastman, is yeah, I don't know how much he weighs, but
Huge.
I would say close to 400, maybe 350, 400. And Stonewell's just he's the different end of the scale. He's still built, but he's just not built like
He's
Beast.
Mr. Cheese. I quite liked him actually.
Jeez. We got G's and got Black Cheese and now Mr. Cheese. Where
No,
is
no,
the
I'm not. Yeah, for those of you that haven't seen him yet, he's very much playing the Indiana Jones character and the glances down
yeah,
the camera and stuff. So it was fun actually. I quite liked that gimmick.
with his little cheesy grin and
Yeah,
everything else that you mentioned there. That actually put on it was a really quite a fun match, to be fair. I tell you what, though, I wouldn't want to be on the end of some of Beastman's moves.
my God, and the corner, those poor boys.
He
But
was
then Fabu flew off the rope at Beastman, and Beastman literally just swatted him away like a fly. I thought, oh my God.
swatted him away like a butterfly.
Quite literally, he is a butterfly, I suppose. So yeah.
He may not be a
But it
butterfly
looked
now.
like it was no effort whatsoever. I thought Beastman was maybe gonna catch him,
That's for
but
that.
he literally just went beat it and just like, oh
It's kind of a new version of the Samoa Joe walk away. It's a squat away.
yeah,
Get out of the way. Get out
go
of the way.
on, beat
Get out of
it.
the way. And then he hits a cannonball in the corner
And in both of them at the same time.
on both. And then just when you think it couldn't get any worse for the Heavenly Butterflies, the end of this, I mean, they literally got squashed. Literally.
Quite
He
literally.
was on
I
like, I
actually quite
suppose,
like this because
he was on like
Rockwell
all
was up
fours,
on
wasn't he?
Beastman's back.
Yeah. He says he was Stonewall was on Beastman's back. He was on all fours, wasn't he? The one of the butterflies, and they just
It was like, was it like a backdrop onto them or
yeah,
something? The two of
something
them,
along
but
those lines.
holy
Yeah.
moly, that pinfall was an easy pinfall for the Temple of Doom or Dumb or whatever they call
I
it.
don't know what to call them, but I mean that was just like they had squatted them with a fly squatter. Boom. Like
Yeah,
and it ended. So a very impressive start. Will we see? Well, we haven't heard that they're announced again for Shockwave anyway,
I
or
think they'd
looks
be
like
a
them.
good contender for at least one of the preliminaries for the Crockett Cup if that's another thing next year.
Crockett Cup, yes, yes. Didn't think of that. There is a tournament coming up at Shockwave, though, is there? Number one contenders tournament, I believe, and there's not a tag team.
No,
It's not a
singles, eight
tag team
man.
one.
Yeah,
Is it for Latimer's title?
it is for number one contenders for the
What?
National Heavyweight Championship or the
Uh,
World Championship. I think
yes.
I need to double check that actually. That's terrible.
I've got it here. Yeah, NWA World Heavyweight Championship. There's an eight-man tournament starting at Shockwave. And one of the matches actually on Shockwave, which is going to be the play-in. So this is for the number eight, a bit like they used to do for the Crockett Cup. They
Hmm.
used to do the play-in for seed number 16. This is one for seed number eight, who goes against seed number one, whoever that may be. Could even be Tom Latimer at this point. We don't know he's going to hold on to the championship come Shockwave as of yet. But the freeway that's been announced for the buy for that buy-in spot is quite frankly incredible. It's going to be Sam Adonis, who we haven't seen since the match with EC3.
I'm excited to see him again.
He's going to be going in a triple threat match against Tyler Franks. I believe that's from KFW Crossfire.
Hmm.
Tyler Franks. So he's very much and I'm sure that's one of the ones that the Page sisters said if they were going into battle,
They would
they
take him. Yeah.
he would be on there. And Colby Carino.
Ooh.
I mean,
Okay.
if that isn't enough to get you in to
That's a
Shockwave,
banger.
it is going to be a banger at Shockwave. That's going to be an incredible match to be quite honest with you. But whilst we're on Shockwave, we might as well just run down the couple of matches also that have been announced that doesn't spoil anything. Anyway, Natalia Markova, she's going to be with Brian Idol from Looks That Kill, obviously. But interestingly enough, and this may be due to injury, I don't know, but KFW bringing up their another one of their heavy hitters, Hunter Drake. Is that the one that got the WWE ID?
I'm not sure.
One of them
That
did,
rings
didn't
a
it?
bell, though. I know that someone from KFW did.
Pretty sure it was him, Hunter Drake. And so she's going against him, but Hunter's going to have Kylie Page at ringside. One wonders whether that's going to set up a mixed
Is it
tag.
Kylie? I thought it
It
was
is.
Tiffany. Is it Kylie?
No, it's Kylie Page at
Ooh, okay.
ringside for this.
Oh, yeah, okay. Right.
It's obviously KFW, right?
Oh, there's going to be shenanigans at this match.
I just
100%.
I just wonder if that's going to set up a mixed tag at a later date.
Potentially, yeah. That's interesting. That'll be fun.
And the other match that I can announce because we recently saw him win the World Television Championship, and I'm pretty sure he hasn't got a match. Hold that thought. I'm pretty sure I was going to say he hasn't got a match at Looks That Kill, but I may need to use our good friend Wikipedia to make sure. Otherwise, I'm going to give it away. Unfortunately, if I do, I apologize. I'm trying my best not to give any matches away that we
Yeah.
don't.
Shockwave, that's what, the 11th of January, so just a couple of weeks away at Forney at the OC in Forney, Texas, which is the home of TSW, the latest in the NWA territories, which is quite exciting.
Yes, thank you for passing the time away.
I know,
Well, I
I'm
guess
like, Phil,
looking
Phil,
at this,
Fiona, Phil.
no, he hasn't. Well, as of right now, and obviously with the tapings finished, he didn't have a match on the card that was on the Wikipedia card anyway. So this would be Carson Bartholomew Drake defending his newly won television championship against Alex Misery.
Ooh, okay.
So quite a lot going on at Shockwave. I'm double checking as we go along here. He definitely hasn't got a match that I can see anyway. Although that doesn't make, oh yeah, sorry, don't worry. Yeah, that's fine. Sorry, Mims. Yeah, so that's so far Shockwave, which is setting up to be a great show. As you say, a couple of weeks time it records. So we'll probably see that March, maybe.
March time, maybe, yeah.
But however, they did announce something for March, and I think we talked about this the other day. I know we're going to get to the main event in a minute that you may be out there for. Hard
Yeah, I'm
times?
excited. Hard Times 5 on the 22nd of March in Dothan, Alabama. I have a ticket for it. I am planning on being on the USA at that time. Um, I'm not 100% sure where I'll be. I am going back to Texas. My new spiritual second home, I think. But yeah, I'm looking at making the trip to Alabama for that, which would be another state to tick off my American bucket list. So yeah, I have a ticket for that. I hope that the travel gods work out and that flights aren't too expensive internally and that I can make it there because it's been so long since I've been at an NWA show. And if it's a signature live event or a taping or whatever it ends up being, I'm super excited. So I really hope it works out. So please send positive vibes my way to make sure that it
Yeah,
does. Thank you.
I will. I will send a positive vibe that I hope that it's a signature live event. Because one of the things it didn't announce on there, at least on the original poster, was that it was going to be a power taping. Now, normally they say power at the bottom, it's going to be a power taping, blah blah blah, and you'd get 4 weeks, 5 weeks, or whatever worth of power. This one has just come up hard times.
Yeah, because they have also announced, I believe they've also
February.
announced a weekend of tapings in
Yep.
Tampa as well.
Yep.
So I'm like, ooh, I'd love a live event, a live signature live event, pay-per-view, buy it on whatever platform they want to sell it on. I miss them.
Yeah, me too. They couldn't just put it on X, surely. They could do it live from X, I suppose
Yeah,
they
but
could
then
do.
they won't be able to monetize it, would they? So they need to do it on something else, can they? I don't know.
I think they can. I don't know how. I'm sure there is a monetized option available on X. But anyway, that would be great if it was a signature live event. But at the moment, nothing for sure yet. We don't know. But you may be out there repping this,
Absolutely.
by the way. Make sure you rep that if you do go to a taping or whatever it is, for sure. Right, main event. You know, we've had brilliant.
You missed
We
the Tommy C3 promo.
apologies, you're right. Next, this coming week, shall we say, the final week of Samhain, it's going to be the Latimer EC3 return match for the championship. They're a great. They never fail to dis these two with promos, do they?
I know, like, how can you, to be honest with you?
Incredible promo. Ready for this week, shall we say? This coming week on Power, which is going to be New Year's Eve. Am I right?
No, I quite like this holiday wrestling shenanigans thing.
And as the clock strikes 12 midnight on New Year's Day, we will know if there's a new NWA heavyweight, at least in the UK. We will know if there's a new NWA heavyweight champion. But the main event, so we had a banger to start. We had a fun banger in the middle, and it's time to get serious again. The NWA, another WWE ID standout talent, that being Jack Cartwheel against Alex Taylor. Again, what can you say about these two? Alex is, do you know what? He's so at the Southern Six, you would never have put him to kind of go out there and showcase, sort of, I don't know how the word, go on his own, so to speak, and show how good he actually is.
I feel like he's very underrated. I feel like people underestimate Alex and his talent, and having had the pleasure of being able to watch him work in the ring, whether it's with the Southern Six or previously when he was with Jeremiah Plunkett, um, the guy's phenomenal. And I just don't think he gets the credit that he deserves.
And it's always great to see Jack Cartwheel in there as well. I mean, yes, he Cartwheel by name, Cartwheel by nature. You do get a lot of that. You can certainly see why WWE has invested interest in him.
Oh, absolutely. Like that one spot that you'll know I'm talking about off the ropes and the
Yeah.
cartwheel outside the ring on Alex, I was like, okay, that's impressive.
Yeah. You've got to give him his due. You can certainly see why the WWE got their eyes on him, so to speak, along with others, certainly from KF. So I'm sure it's Hunter Drake from KFW, and there's a load of others that they've got their eyes on. I wouldn't be surprised if a few more talents from the NWA get spotted. I'm not quite sure that Kenzie and Kylie would be really suitable for the IDs of the WWE, but you got names there that Kerry Morton's definitely got to be on their radar if he's not already. I would have thought. But we don't want you to leave the NWA, of course. Please, not yet, anyway. But this was brilliant. As you say, there was a massive spot from Jack Cartwheel. We just hit the cartwheel on the outside of the ring. There was so much good stuff in this. And again, a title match that could have gone either way. But but to this day, and it's one of my favorite finisher names, the Green Whistle.
I like that. But before we get to that, I'd just
Go.
like to point out Alex's little sneaky sort of Southern sexy style. Southern sexy, that almost sounded like Southern sexy, or maybe it did, but Southern sexy style shenanigans with the tag rope, hanging Jack Cartwheel outside the ring. That's very much screams of something that his teammates would probably get up to. So he's definitely learned a trick or two from Silas and Kerry on that front about making things to his advantage, let's just say.
So you can take the man out of the Southern. Is it you can take the Southern? You can take the man out of the Southern Six, but you can't take the Southern Six out of the man.
Yep, pretty much.
And he ended up being too hot to trot for Jack Cartwheel because, like I said, the aforementioned, my favorite finishing name, the Green Whistle, was the one that picked up the victory for Alex. And he goes on, and he didn't have a match as far as I could see. Looks to kill. Again, I will check the wonderful world of Wikipedia to double check that to make sure if he's got a match coming up that we're going to be seeing anytime soon. But when we look at that, it does really go to show how this talent roster at the NWA just keeps. There's so many impressive names on this list, a lot of names that people may not know about, but in the future they certainly will.
There is, and they've got a very wide talent pool. And there are your regular, obviously, you've got your contracted talent who are there on a regular basis at all the tapings and at all the live events and stuff. But what NWA are very good at is putting the eyes on new talent and bringing in local talent wherever they actually are. So if they're in Dothan, they're bringing in Alabama talent. If they're in Florida, they're bringing in Florida talent. If they're in Chicago, they're bringing in local Chicago talent. And not necessarily from the territories that are part of the NWA, but even from out with that. So eyes are getting put on people who maybe haven't had much exposure. And it's great for them because it means if people are watching and like them, they are going to go and check out their social media. They're going to go and follow them. And it's such a good thing. The flip side of that is, however, is that, and we've seen it time and time and time again, you see people that come onto the shows and you think, oh my God, they're brilliant. And then they vanish because you don't see them again.
Yeah, indeed. And Alex Taylor does have a match. Looks at Kilbit. It's against a good wrestler called TBA. Um,
Oh, he's fab.
he's in a lot of matches at the minute. I may have accidentally given away a result of a match. I don't know this for a fact, but Alex Misery is in a fatal four-way at Looks to Kill, and I don't know if that's going to be a number one contenders match for the television championship. He's in a match with Slade, Hunter Drake, and Lev. I don't know. So if it is, and it is a number one contenders match, I apologize. I don't like giving out spoilers. I didn't see that, but there was one other match actually. Not Looks to Kill, Shockwave that's been announced that we can talk about.
We can indeed. Pretty Boy Smooth taking on Baron Von Storm.
The Baron makes his return to NWA against a 6'9" Pretty Boy Smooth, but Pretty Boy Smooth isn't going to be alone, Fee.
He's not. He's come along with EC3, but he is also putting his Exodus Pro belt on the line.
There
So
you
a
go.
championship match for the Baron,
The Baron.
which I think is going to potentially be a difficult match for Baron, particularly now, obviously, with the news at the start of the show.
Yes.
He's not going to have Jax in his corner. I'm not quite sure how this will go down, to be honest.
No. There's also no one to put the coat on him.
There's no one to
He
put
gets
a
the
towel on
plot.
it, but you never know. He may have someone else willing and able to and with the power and the authority and the strength or whatever you want to kind of keep him under control. So I'm not sure. I know that he did tag with someone else that killed the other week. I'll not say who because I don't think it's actually
Yep.
been put out.
No.
But I know that he did tag with someone else. Perhaps they'll be around, who to me seemed like a good fit. I'm not sure what's going to happen if he's out on his own. God help Pretty Boy Smooth though, because if he is on his own and there's no one there to control him, so to speak, Pretty Boy Smooth's in for a rough time if he gets that claw in locked in.
Yeah, and then an EC3 then shouldn't stick his nose in either if he doesn't want to, because the Baron's on. Maybe you should fly out, Effie. Go and help the Baron.
Go to go twice.
You go
Although
out
I'm
there.
dying to go and see the OC. I've been at the TSW shows at the old venue, so I haven't seen the OC. So I'm dying to go to Forney and have a look and check it out because I've heard nothing but good things about the venue. So,
We'll see. Maybe one day for sure. Look, it has been Christmas, obviously, and yes, we had some somber stuff at the start of the show, but
and yes,
now
I
Christmas.
am still in my pajamas. I'm sorry.
We didn't quite get that. Yes, it is. This is. We started recording at 9:30 this morning, so I know it's only going to be around 10:30, 11 before this goes out. But yes, this was recorded on the same day, so Friday, the 27th of December, 9:30. We record feed. But are you getting ready to go somewhere today? Have you got something on?
I have my last two shows of the year this weekend. So both with W3L tonight, we're in Petticoat Bay Holiday Park near Kirkcaldy and Fife. It's a couple hours from the house. So we've got a good card. We've got Lou Nixon up for that. We've got Johnny Storm up. We've
Oh, Johnny
got
Storm, legendary
yeah,
Johnny Storm.
the legendary Tony Storm. I'm actually going to see if I can grab his book, his new autobiography while we're out. We have Tim Strange up, and we have some tag team matches. I think off the top of my head, it's Tim Strange versus Iron Drew Marshall. There is a three-way for the W3L Championship belt. There is a tag team match as well, which is Looking Sharp, not Looking Sharp. Yeah, Looking Sharp. And TJ Rage versus the Commune. Off the top of my head, I think that's all I can remember. So that is tonight. And then tomorrow afternoon, W3L are back at Broxburn, towards Edinburgh Way for a wee 3 o'clock afternoon show. And that will round up my wrestling year where I have done just over 60 matches this year, 60 shows this year. So that's been quite outstanding. So that's been a lot of fun. And then a
60.
couple of weeks off. And then in January, we have the end of the month, we are taking Jim Ross on the road with Inside the Ropes. So that's very exciting.
And Inside the Ropes also gave us a Christmas treat this year.
They did indeed. So we have also announced a tour with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, which is going to be a belter. I've worked with Jim before. I had a great time with him. Now, this must have been back in maybe 2017, 2018. Jim was over. I still have my two before in the living room that he signed for me. Um, we're doing 3 dates with him. I think it's the round about the 18th of March. I haven't double checked. I unfortunately I'm looking unlikely to be there because I think I will be stateside for that. So I will miss that tour. So we've got Jim coming. We've also got Ted DiBiase, Million Dollar Man. And there's a lot going on at Inside the Ropes. So please head over to itrtix.com for your tickets for that. They are going to be buying shows. They always are. Kenny always does such a good job.
Yes, they are amazing events. Don't miss out. Very value for money. Lovely, intimate settings. And the first three names of the year, they certainly don't disappoint, even though Fiona's going to disappoint them at least on one show and not be there. But you will be hopefully repping this over in the NWA. So I'm sure, well, I'll give you the okay on that one. Kenny can come and see me if, if he's got a problem. We're going to be hitting the road later as well, actually, hitting the turnbuckle, myself, Rachel, and the team from Ignite Wrestling Pro. We're going to be going over to Prodigy Pro Wrestling over near about half an hour from me over in Essex, in Hockley, I believe, at the Greensward Academy. I can run you off the whole card. I get that. I've managed to get the card up while you were talking, which was handy. We're gonna have a battle royale today, so that's going to be on the card. Don't know who's going to be in that. There's going to be a tag team match, the 87, which one of our good friends, Harrison Leon, is a part of. There's a name to keep an eye out for, guys. Harrison Leon. I'm not quite sure who his tag team partner is, but they're going against Team Wrestle Force, who is another company over here in England. They do a lot of shows, Wrestle Force. I think Oliver may be one of the guys that are going to be there. We're going to see our good friend Big Mac Harry McDonald. He's going up against somebody who, if you're a good fan of Will Ospreay, you will know his former tag team partner Paul Robinson. So he will be going up against Paul Robinson. We're going to have Alexander Moore, who's a WWE NXT UK talent. He'll be going up against sorry, Levi Muir. Sorry, Levi Muir. I get the names right because he's going up against Alexander Roth. So there you go, Levi Muir, Alexander Roth, and then the main event is going to be an Extreme Rules match for the Showcase Championship, I do believe, and it's going to be Benny Nitro and Isaac Blair. So anyone that wants to go to that, go onto Prodigy Pro Wrestling on Facebook. There's a link there for tickets. Come and see me, come and see Rachel, come and see Chris and Dan from Ignite Wrestling. So we're going up there. We have a breakout division this year to get wrestlers for. So we're going to be up there having a little mooch around some of the talent to see. So that runs up our show for the end. That's our last show of the year that we're attending. Trust me when I say this, not the last show that I'm going to be doing this year. I've got at least another five podcasts to do. Coming up a bit later on today, actually, before I head off to Prodigy Pro, I'm going to be starting the new series on the channel called Independent Showcase, where we interview wrestlers, promoters, referees, whoever wants to come on the show and talk about their brand or talk about their wrestling career. And that's going to be started with the Revolution Pro Wrestling Cruiserweight Champion. Will Caven will be joining me a bit later on today. This coming, actually, I'm probably going to do another one. I'm probably going to do a podcast tomorrow, but that's just a review show. I've got a collaborative review show on Sunday myself. Follow the Revolution, and Cruising with Kayfabe podcast that we're going to be getting together to review AEW World's End, which you can see live on Saturday. I need to tell you, I've showed you. Did I show you something about AEW this week? I don't want to talk about who it is.
I'll talk to you after.
Yeah, thank you. I'm pretty sure I did tell you. Anyway, and then this coming Monday, Independent Showcase will start again with Ignite. We're going to run through the Ignite Wrestler Pro year, shall we say, that we've had. What a year that has been as well. And then we've got yet another Independent Showcase a bit later on that day with Riot Cabaret. James from Riot Cabaret will be joining us. We went there a week or so ago, had a great, great time. And then maybe a slightly controversial interview. I'm recording all this, by the way. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be out on Monday. Just giving you a heads up as to what's coming up on recording. We're going to be interviewing a man who, well, is no stranger to wrestling, veteran in wrestling, coming back to the UK this year, next year. That would be the greatest wrestler that ever lived, or the greatest man that ever lived. Austin Aries will be coming on. the show there. That takes me up until New Year's Eve. And then obviously we're going to have an NWA review coming up that at some point next week as well as yet another trip down to ECW where I will talk to the one and only CW Anderson. I believe it's that. I think he's actually in MLW right about now. And in the first week in January, we'll be coming back with another independent showcase. That is with North Wrestling, who me and you know well. We've
Yeah.
heard lots of great things about. You know what about. And then our NWA showcase, NWA Spotlight. I need to talk to you about that as well because we may have one earlier than this. I will announce it who, but I'll need to talk to you about times and whether you can do it or not. It's not a problem. Anyway, we're recording this one on the 8th after our power review, and that will be with Hollywood Haley J. But the one that I'm potentially getting on next week, and I'll talk to you about times afterwards, because we're just final. Well, I finalised a time with him. Black G's will be coming on.
Oh,
We've sorted it out. I forgot to tell you before we went on. We've had a lot of things on our
Oh,
mind.
yes. I can't
Black
miss that
G's.
one. I would be so disappointed to miss
Um,
that one. I love G's.
Yes, the church's money. He'll be coming on next week. I'll fill you in after this, just because it should be okay for you. But yeah, anyway, that is what we've got coming up. So busy, busy, busy bees, both of us, as always, regardless of whether it's work or wrestling. We're always busy. But Fee, obviously, a great way to end. Obviously, what has been a really crap last few days with this. But look. We're going to come back, and this was the end. I'm going to tell you what, as this is the last power of 2024 for us until we review the new power, I want you to give me your top three, your top three MVP. I'll do it this way, and I'll put you on the spot because I didn't tell you this before we
Yes.
go on the air. And we do this all the time, by the way, on this show. It is off script. We will just obviously when we do review shows, we'll review the matches, but we don't say what we're going to talk about. So this is a real one for Fee. I want you to give me a male MVP, a female MVP, and a one to watch for 2025.
Ooh, okay.
Sorry.
No, 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 no. I want to watch. Okay, let's have a look. So, my male MVP, I'm actually torn between EC3
Mhm.
and Tom.
Okay.
I think EC3 has been an incredible ambassador for NWA, an incredible ambassador for the World's Championship. And that's what you want from your champ. He's just been an absolute pro. His promos have been great. He's traveled with that belt, and done what he said he would do. But Tom has fought like a dog to get that back. And I always believed in Tom, and I always believed Tom would get there. So I'm going to go with EC3.
Okay. And your female?
My female MVP. Now, going down that route, you would think I would probably say Kenzie,
Mhm.
but I'm going to say something that might surprise you.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Markova.
No, it didn't surprise me. I get that. I
I'm
understand that.
going with Markova. I think Natalia Markova has been consistent and solid for the whole year, despite the fact that I have bitched and moaned about her title shots and everything. I actually don't think there's anyone that other than potentially Kenzie who's worked harder this year for NWA to again promote and do her thing in the ring, whether it's been as a tag team with Brian or herself, winning the Burke Invitational, all of that stuff. So I am going with Markova on that one.
Okay.
In terms of one to watch, that's probably a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Um, I think, oh no, now I'm struggling with this. Part of me wants to say Tiffany Nieves,
Okay.
but part of me wants to say potentially Mims.
Oh, interesting. Mims.
Potentially Mims. He's got G's in his corner, and Big Strong Mims is not called Big Strong Mims for nothing.
Very true.
And there's a couple of championship belts I could see him reaching for this year and the upcoming year.
Okay.
Um, but then there's folk like Alex Taylor, who's a dark horse, and like we said earlier on today, that he's not maybe given the credit he deserves.
Absolutely.
Man, I have to. I can't pick one for that one. That's my top three for that one then.
All right, you picked a top three. I'll let you off. You can have a top three.
Come on then. See,
All
you
right.
quite clearly had time to think about this.
No, I didn't. I actually didn't. I'm struggling myself. No, I'm going to go the opposite to what you said with the men's. I'm going to go with Latimer. I just think it was his time to shine. He finally got there. He clawed, he scratched, he done everything in between to get there. He had a few opportunities against EC3, who, as you rightfully said, has been a fantastic champion, but finally managed to get it done, Latimer. So for me, Latimer's the one. And you're right. I was going to say Kenzie for the women, but I'm actually going to go and say Tiffany Nieves because I did. Now, I could have said that as one to watch because you can argue that the best is yet to come. You could argue the best is yet to come for Kenzie as well. But I'm going to say Tiffany because, again, I feel as if like when we see her, and I said this at the start when we was talking about her matches, that the constant improvement is there. You saw that in Kenzie last year, and now Kenzie's just literally her own person. She's that general in the ring that we kind of talked about last year. For me, Tiffany has come up leaps and bounds from when I first saw her to now, and unfortunately, not just missing out on the championship at Samhain, but for me, Tiffany Nieves gets the female version. The one to watch is the struggle because, like you say, it's difficult. We don't always see people week in, week out. But I'm going to go for one that actually we was just talking about that's coming to Shockwave in a couple of weeks' time. I'm going to go for Hunter Drake. I believe he's the one that's been WWE ID'd. I'm sure it was him because I've seen a lot of stuff. I've watched a lot of his matches on YouTube. I know this is going away from the NWA a little bit because we haven't seen him a lot on the NWA, but from what I've seen of him, and assuming we're going to see more of him into 2025 on NWA, I believe that he's going to be a star. Oh, I've certainly seen a lot of his matches, whether or not he was the one that was ID'd or Tyler Franks. I can't remember. It was one of those two, but it was ID.
I'm just looking on his Insta to see if there's anything on that, and I can't see it just now.
It might be Tyler Franks, but I've watched a lot of Hunter Drake stuff. No, it was Hunter Drake that was ID'd. Jackson
Okay.
Drake. Sorry, Jackson Drake. There we go.
Jackson Drake, there you go.
It may have been his brother. But anyway, I've seen a lot of Hunter Drake on YouTube because I was watching a lot of the matches because obviously they do a lot of KFW stuff that's on title match. Obviously, there's other territory stuff that you can see him on. And he, for me, he's got a great future ahead of him. He may be next, by the way, for a thingy, who knows? But Jackson Drake was the one that was ID'd. Hunter Drake, it was a Drake, right? That was the main thing. But Hunter Drake for me is one I've been watching quite closely on the YouTube, so to speak. So, and I know that he's part of NWA. So, Hunter Drake for me is one to watch in 2025. But
I
as
was going
always,
to go
Fee,
one step. Well, before you go, I was going to go one step further and go watch your match of the year, but I can't even begin to think about that right now.
ooh,
So,
match. Hang on,
no,
match.
I cannot go that way because that's something that I would really, really need to think about.
Jeez, yeah, that is too difficult.
That's too much.
Too
Too much
early in
for
the
today.
morning.
Maybe next show.
Maybe next show. Yeah, that
Which
was
I promised I will be dressed for and I will have makeup on for and all that jazz. I literally have crawled out of bed, said goodbye to my daughter who's gone back to where she lives for New Year and then came on. So I promise I'll be more respectable next time.
You don't have to worry about that. Don't worry about that. But, Fee, as always, at the end of every show, I always say this. Shall we do this again next week?
In the new year, absolutely.
In the new year, we're welcoming 2025 the only way that we can with NWA Power, which you can watch 6:05 Eastern, 11:05 p.m. UK time on the NWA's official X account. And you can follow us on there too, HTT Buckle on that. Blue Sky, http.bluesky or something along those lines. HTT Buckle on YouTube, Hitting the Turnbuckle Podcast on Instagram. Fee, until next week, Happy New Year.
And to you when it comes.
And we'll see you on the other side of 2025. Buckle down, stay safe. Goodbye.